So I was going to do some League of Khorne, and then I remembered I had this bastard lying around. So let's paint him up today. Why not? Anywho, my name is Alistair. I am the Bad Mini Painter, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you will watch it, well, not to the end, because, well, you know, but watch it nonetheless. So, if there ever was a model that you should have sub-assembled, this is the one. It was a huge pain to reach half of it, and I'm so glad that I decided not to put it on the base before starting the paint job. And you know, Khorne Red, it's a good base color. I'm almost out of it. I think it's one of the first paints I bought after getting back into to the hobby, so it lasted for a good while. I must admit that I ended up mixing it for the airbrush and just airbrushing the rest because there were so many hard to reach places. And next I go in with Daemon Red, which seemed suitable because it's Angron. It's a Daemon Primarch of Khorne, right? Well, and I use it as a dry brushing thing. And the good thing about only having done the skin is that I don't have to be careful, which is a good thing for me when I'm dry brushing. Attention to detail and precision is not really my thing. Afterwards I go in and give it an even lighter dry brush with the Fanatic Orange, also from two thin coats, which are slowly turning into my favorite brand of paint. Sorry for that minor hiccup. I may have thrown up a bit in my mouth. I don't want to talk about it. And next, for the wings, we do Doom Death Black, also from two thin coats. I need to buy more of these. They're actually really awesome. I am still working out how to get focus on what I'm doing and not my hand, and also not to cover everything up with my hand. It's not going great. I use Ghost Grey from Vallejo for the claws and also the shaft handle of the weapons. And I do that because I had this brilliant idea with using contrast paint over it and then getting an awesome gradient with that to make it look like a grey, pale stone bone thing. Spoiler alert, I failed miserably. Lead Belcher for all the metal. Yeah, that makes sense, right? It's one of my favorite silver metal paints. It's a base paint, so it has a high pigmentation, and also it will kill your brushes faster than anything else. So remember that when you use it. Don't use an expensive brush for Citadel paints general. I use Cantor Blue, which was apparently a paint I had lying around for all the leather fabric thing. I think it's leather, but I wanted to give it a blue color because blue and red is just nice for me. For all his armor plating, I give it a Sycorax Bronze from Citadel base color. It's a really light, shiny bronze, and I wanted this guy to be, well, light and shiny. So, you know, it made sense in my brain. And afterwards I go back with Lead Belcher to cover up some of my mistakes and also to do some details on his armor plating, like the teeth, and I also forgot a bunch of stuff the first time I had it out. And here you can see how I tried the gradient on the claws, and it looks horrible. Elven Gold from scale 75, which you can barely read, is a really yellow gold, which I thought would be kind of cool with the Sycorax bronze. And It's kind of a sharp contrast right now, and honestly it kind of hurts my eyes. But adding a black wash from not Army Painter but Vallejo, dulls it down just a little bit. The cool thing about the black wash from Vallejo is that it doesn't dull down, but it gets into all the crevices, so it does do a lining job really well. You chop the bone for all the little skulls everywhere. And you can kind of see how the black wash has toned everything down just a little bit and detailed everything by adding a border between the different colors of metal, or the different kinds of metal. Asian gray for his hairy armpits. Now he has some fur here and there, so I give that a base color of Asian gray, and then I'm going to dry brush it later with something. And again, it was a huge pain to get everything. It's ivory tusk, also from 2 thin coats for the teeth. There's a lot of really hard to reach places, and if you don't do sub-assembly, you really have to plan ahead on how you apply the colors, or in what order you apply the colors. I shot myself in the foot multiple times by not doing that. Plasmic Bold is a contrast paint from Army Painter, and I use that for the green, blue-green shading on his armor and his axe. And when it dried, it looked really cool, almost like the box art. And for me to get something almost like the box art, that's a success. And I'm careful not hitting the teeth, which I have given a coat of lead belcher. Next is Wraithbone as a base color for all the burning skulls in his sword. And then I go in with the Screaming Skull to highlight all the skulls. That makes sense, right? And that's just, for me, it's a light dab on top of the skull, where I imagined that the light would hit it. So it's really not a big job, it's just a little dab. Eclipse Gray from scale 75, and I use that. It's so incredibly out of focus. I am working on this, it is going to get better. I don't know when, but at some point. I use that for all the wires and tubing he has going on. I guess it is probably there for a reason. Then Celestial Grey for some dry brushing of his hairy armpits and Achilles, I guess. And for detailing his straps, what you may call it, I go with the Calador Sky? Calador. Yeah, that sounds Warhammer. Calador Sky from Citadel, and I do a tiny little highlight with the Techless Blue, which you can't see because of my fucking hand. I'm sorry. I promise it's there. It didn't do a huge difference, but it's there. I use Dark Reaper to highlight some of the skin folds on his wings, which you hopefully can see here. Now it looks like there's a high contrast, but as it is with most paints, as soon as they dry out, they dull down. And his tongue got a layer of Emperor's Children. That's important. Have to remember the tongue. And for his eyes I used flesh gets yellow, just a little tiny dab right there. dab dabbity dab. Yeah, I don't know if it made a difference. Fire Giant Orange from Army Painter is the contrast paint I decided to use on the swordy thing with the little skulls. What you can see is my knuckle, but here's a better angle. Yes. It's hard to position the camera without the camera actually pissing me off because it's in the way. So I am working on it. Rhinox hide for the leather straps that mounts the armor plates to his arms, I guess, and legs. It's always scary for me doing this now because I'm done with the skin, so don't want to mess up too bad. I use Nolan oil gloss for all the tubing, and also his I don't know, hair, all the pipes going into his head, and the tubes or pipes around on his body gets a gloss layer as well. And it is a nice effect. Next, it's still Legion Drab time, and that's for highlighting the leather straps. It's a tiny little thing, and it doesn't take a long time, and I feel like it does it makes a difference. Just those little tiny highlights, and you can go more crazy with it than I do, but you know. Somehow silver for highlighting the sword and the selected parts of the armor where I could expect the armor to have been a bit subjected to wear and tear, I guess. And then it's Wild Rider Red, and I decided to give a tiny highlight to where I felt like the dry brushing could have gone more, and that's for his face and his knuckles. I didn't really do much else. And then finally, because I didn't like the way it looked, I decided to go back with the Celestial Grey for the claws, and just give it a layer of that, and don't go fully down. So it looks like they're dark and grimy at the end, but nice and clean at the tip. It looked better. And that's the final result. I'm honestly kind of proud. I have painted nicer looking models, and I have done better jobs in the past. But this could have gone much worse. I could have messed up horribly. But this was kind of okay. There are some places where, looking at it now, I wish I would have done a little more. I could have added some shading to the skulls, for one quick example. Also, I really like the effect I managed to get by accident on his base. Oh. Yeah, I'll go into how I did that in another video, but I kind of like the base as well. It's all about the base, no trouble. Anyway, so if you for some reason like this video, please consult a professional medical person, and like and subscribe, and ring the bell if you want to get bugged. I upload when I can, twice a week. Thank you for your time. I know it's valuable. See you in the next one. Bye.